Hello, and welcome to Sip and Tip. I'm MJ.
And I'm Zane.
And I'm the producer. And since it's Mother's Day, the ladies are taking some much deserved time off, but I'm going to have them answer a few questions on this Mother's Day edition of Sip and Tip.
What's the biggest misconception you had about being a mother before you were a mother?
Honestly, no one really spoke to me about motherhood growing up. So I don't think there were any misconceptions. I believe that moms were going to be everything to their little one. And that's what I try to do.
I can't recall any misconceptions that I've had before being a parent. However, I will say that there is a underestimated assumption as to how children will transition from teen to young adult. That is the most, for me, that was the most troubling time as a whole. And it's just trying to understand, relate, and be able to transition that child or that being from being this teenager who is full of spunk, less responsibilities than an adult, with all this personality, all these wants, all these desires, to this full functioning or even partly functioning, reasonably independent adult without crushing all their spirits. Because, teenagers, they're like, oh, I'm going to move out. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that. I'm going to have this. And even though, again, if you watch the other episodes, I try and set my children up for success. So my children at 18 have good credit scores. I try and get them to save. Saving is very subjective to the child, but I do all these things. And so when that young adult stage hits, it's, oh, I want to do this, and I want to buy a car, and I want to do this. And you're like, whoa, prioritize. What do you really need? You're not even out of school yet. You just hit 18. You have all these things that you need to check off the list before you can move forward. Yeah, it doesn't equate that way in in a young adult's head. And again, I'm sure I went through this as well, just a different way because supports and things were different. So just trying to understand, I think there's an underestimated discussion or topic around that age group, because that's when they try and take on the world, even though they don't necessarily need to. So in my case, my child didn't need to move out, didn't need to, do any of the, typical young adult things so quickly. But he wanted to rush out there. And by all means, I'll support his decisions because I have to rely on the information I gave him and the structure I gave him. So be the best you could be. You're going to learn along the way, just like the rest of us. And that's the goal. And, well, not necessarily the goal, but that's the key message here is every child learns differently and every child needs different support to move forward. And as a mother, my visions for this time of his life is very different than what's happening. I, of course, would never just send him out into the world at a tender age of 18 because the world is very bitter and not always so helpful. But again, that's just me being a mom and wanting to protect my child as much as I can without necessarily hindering him, but providing that support and comfort. Motherhood. Question 2. Motherhood. What motherhood stands for me? Let's be clever about this. I would say meaningfully open-minded. Meaningfully open-minded while using tact, humor, encouragement, and being reasonable. I think that's good. Being a mother for me means being meaningfully open-minded while using tact, humor, encouragement, and being reasonable.
See, I prefer the term mommy, so I'm gonna try and go mommy. And many hats, as we always wear them. Oblivious sometimes to our children's feelings. Memories made at random. Momentous occasions, even the little ones. And you're my everything to my babies.
What is the best part of being a mother?
I feel the best part about being a mom is seeing them grow into their own. When you know that everything that you've tried to teach them that you thought fell on deaf ears shines through, and you see them becoming their own little person.
Ooh, the best part of being a mother. The best part of being a mother, I think, is having the ability to create. And this goes on different levels. But obviously, being able to create children is a staple for being, well, it's a staple for being a mother. For bonus parents, and again, I'm a bonus parent, the staple is not to create a child, but to create or instill an understanding, a well-rounded understanding for a child. So creation is a staple for me on all levels of motherhood. But so as a single mother, I feel like a few key things that I created was, routine, structure, those were big. Habits, those were big. And then as I developed, and as a bonus parent, I created a loving environment, a safe environment, open communication, whether you like it or not. And then as a single older parent, if you will, I think that shifted, or it added to my repertoire. And my foundation really switched to being able to create a form of encouragement that spans time and spans distance between myself and the child. Create an intense or a stronger connection of love and admiration for each other, even if and when we argue. So even when we disagree, it's like, oh, you make me so angry because we're disagreeing and you're not seeing my point. But we always come back and we're like, even to my children, we'll say, I love you and all, but you're not hearing me. I love you and all, but you're not seeing my point. And we always lead or, create that atmosphere where we can be loving, yet still, at different ends of the spectrum on whatever topic we're talking about. And that's important to me, because love should not be minimized, depleted, or overlooked just because you're angry in that moment. So, creation. Next question. Ooh, payment for motherhood. I think all moms need a payment increase or boost over working dads, I guess that would be the other the opposing force to that. But I do think moms, or parents in general, but it's Mother's Day, so let's talk about moms. I think moms need to get paid for their mom skills that they bring into the job. So for instance, on a job, you get training, you get the skills that you are required to do for the job. Whether you go to school for that or you're trained on the job, you have those skills. That's what you're paid to do. Now, as a parent, there are skills that you learned at home with your X, Y, and Z children that you bring into the workplace. And with that being said, you don't get paid for those skills. You probably didn't even market those skills on your resume, so they don't even know that you have them. But all moms have a set skill level. Even if you're not the sole provider for those children, there is a set skill level that parents or moms bring into the job. And I say this because when children are fighting, it's almost like your coworkers being catty. It's very much so. And, as adults, you have a choice, especially at work. You can join the cattiness or you could diffuse it. Most parents, because they're tired of it by the time they get to work, will diffuse it. And that's things that parents don't get paid for. Mothers don't get paid for. They need a pay increase.
If mothers were paid, Bill Gates would not be the richest person people know. It would be us mothers, because we deserve so much more than we are given. And we take pride in the love, the smiles, hugs that we get from our little ones. So, yeah, it's priceless.
What would your supermom superpowers be? And what would your outfit look like?
I don't think that there's just one superpower that a mother needs. So let me see mine. I would want I really don't even know how to say it. The ability to teach my children empathy, because that's my strongest attribute to me, is my empathy, and I can feel there's something wrong, but I can't help you to teach me or show me what's wrong, or help you understand how I can help you. My superpower would be something that would help me to be a better mom.
Superpower! Wow! All right. So, if I could have, no, I'm not going to say if. I have a superpower. Yep. Make that face again. Yes, I have a superpower. My superpower, if I do say so myself, is being able to relate to children. Adolescents, late adolescents, early adults, and adults, my superpower dwindles off. But children, young children, infants up until early high school, I have a superpower. I can relate to them in ways most people cannot. Children really are, for lack of better words, attracted to my aura. And somehow they feel very comfortable. And again, I love children. If you ask any of my siblings, auntie's babies, they're my babies. Like, you birthed them, but they're mine. Children, I love being around children. I really would engulf my whole entire life in children, but I wouldn't be productive in any other way. But yes, being able to relate to children, and again, not everyone is able to do that, but being able to really see their point of view, understand who they are, even as a young little person. They're never this big, but you get my point. But even as, they grow, just seeing the different changes and being able to relate to them and being able to be a comforting source as well as a guiding source. And again, I spent many years in childcare, rearing, teaching, educating children, and I did this successfully because of the superpower. Children are often misunderstood and often overlooked because people don't understand them. Adults don't understand them. Children have their own language and their own way of being, and it takes, a superpower sometimes to decode and understand what is going on with children and how that is affecting them. So yes, that would be my superpower. My outfit, so it's not jazzy. It would just be like, not like one of those old school swooshy jogging suits, but like a new age jogging suit, like maybe more like a sweatsuit, but not so bulky. There's a name for it, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, like one of those, like just cool, able to move and, run, play with the children. And of course I have to have my wagon of toys and tricks. So I will need a bouncy house. It has to have a bouncy house and a trampoline. We'll be safe, but we need to have fun. We also need some bubbles, maybe a bubble maker. I could do without the balloons though. But we need some games, some card games, some board games, stuff like that, If I could fit a bike on there, we could do that. But I don't know how to fit in all sizes of bikes. But whatever, we'll work it out. That's why it's a superpower. But yeah, that would be my superpower. Oh, new moms. What would I say to you? There's so much I can say. And again, this takes on 2 caveats for me. New moms as a bonus parent, or new moms as you birthed a child. There is so much I can say. So I'm going to run down a relatively short list. Hopefully I can shorten it. So 1, your child or children are not there to love you unconditionally. But you are a mother to learn how to love unconditionally. I hope that makes sense. Children will hurt your feelings. Number 2. Children will hurt your feelings, but they probably don't mean to. They're hurting your feelings because they are a reflection of you and or what you have done. And it's coming back to you full force. So just understand that. Children are not there to hurt your feelings. They are there to make you better. So allow them that. Number 3. For bonus parents, your child didn't choose you, or the children did not choose you. You chose the child. Let that sink in. You chose the child by choosing their parent. Don't expect them to just assimilate, align, get on board. They're not. Every child's dream is to have their biological parents together. At some point, some children let go of that dream. Some don't. So be patient. Be understanding. Because you chose them. And if you didn't choose them, or you didn't choose the full package, you need to self-reflect. Because you chose them. Indirectly or directly. So, don't let that relationship dwindle just because you didn't know what you were choosing. You are the adult. Another one for both parents, both types of parents. Affection will not ruin a child. Teaching them affection teaches them how to love themselves and others. Show them affection. Tell them you love them. Give them hugs if they're not opposed to it. Give them high fives. Give them the affection that they need and deserve. Last one for today. I'm not going to make it too long. They are watching. They watch everything. Even in their sleep, they're watching you. So whatever you are doing, please understand that whatever you're doing is going to be interpreted and represented to you on a silver platter. And you might not realize it in the moment where it's coming from or where they got it from. But they're watching. So, and I say this, and I'll share a little bit about my story. I'm an empath, and as a young parent, I didn't quite understand what that meant holistically for me or my children. And so, being an empath, I attract a lot of people that are in need of help or maybe rejecting of help. But I would try and help them being an empath. And so, when my children see me helping people that would lash out, they then understood that that was supposed to be part of life. I had to correct that and quickly, because no one deserves to be verbally, mentally, emotionally, or physically abused, or financially abused. There's so many types of abuse that can happen. No one deserves to be abused! Exclamation point. So I had to reevaluate my relationships. I had to reevaluate what my children was learning indirectly by watching me and my interactions. They are watching. So just understand that and move forward accordingly.
To the new mothers, be gentle with yourselves. Do not beat yourselves up because you don't have all the answers. Your babies will cry, and it's okay. It's also okay to take a break. Go sit down for a minute, make a cup of tea. It's okay. And call on your support team. Ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. You really don't. So I pray that all you mothers out there, just know it's gonna get hard, but you'll make it through. Just keep pushing. We got this. Happy Mother's Day.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Thank you for joining the ladies this week. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And also be sure to join us next week for another edition of Sip and Tip.